Welcome back. And now we are getting into our final colors and stages. So as you saw in the last stage, I started working in a lot of the turquoises. I'm working in some more of that really light yellow that I was really enjoying because it's very soft and it's cheerful and peaceful to me. It makes me feel a certain way in my stomach and my chest and my body, and that's what I want more of in my inner landscape, is that wonderful feeling. So what I'm doing is I'm just going in to places that feel, because as you saw, there was a lot of the yellow, that really lovely light yellow here, and then there wasn't a whole lot of it anywhere else. So I'm going around the painting and just touching on different places where I feel like it could lighten up a little bit. You might also notice that I darkened in where I thought the moon would be and added some more stars for this layer because I'm going to go darker with that piece, with that sky. So at the moment, it's really just getting into those bits of the painting that until now have sort of been loose or floating or felt like they were going somewhere, but I wasn't sure where they were going. And I'm going in with the yellow and little other colors and just still working with the light yellow, the white, and the turquoise mostly. But I'm just bringing in some more of that light yellow because it just feels so good. It's one of those colors that just makes me feel wonderful. So I am bringing that in piece by piece and just letting it flow. I'm still really following my paintbrush. Still not trying to control it. Now I'm just trying to find balance between some of the other patterns that I've created that I know I want to keep and some of the stuff that I might not want to keep that I have to find a way to either incorporate or get rid of, which is never an easy task. And you'll see down here, this actually became, when I darkened the moon with that yellow, I went in and did yellow down here because it felt unbalanced with the yellow that was up here. This is the end stages of the painting, where you start getting into more aesthetics and working in the symbolism still, but you're also looking at the painting as a whole and trying to get it to feel like a cohesive painting at this point. So I'm going in and I'm adding where I feel like it needs to be added to. And again, I love what's happening up here around the cocoon. I'm still wondering how I'm going to work the cocoon in there, but I'm loving what's happening up there. And I have a similar pattern up here that I'm going to work in. And I wanted to work some of the light yellow in up here because it was down here. So really, it's now you're starting to think about how your eye is going to travel around the painting, what you'll see as it travels to different sections of the painting. And these are just things that artists normally do. And you don't have to be an artist to do them. I'm telling you now how to do them. And it's feel. You'll know, just like you know when something feels right when you see it in a piece of clothing or a pattern, or trust yourself to know when it feels right. Because when you've done a few lines and they feel good and like they're doing something good for you, then keep going with that. Because your own mind will know those feelings. It knows how to recognize those patterns. The human brain is wired for pattern recognition. So you won't have to do much in terms of concentration to get this to be what you want it to be very soon. And right now, all we're doing is working with what we've already got, highlighting what we want to highlight. I still don't know what her hand is doing or if she's looking at something in her hand. I'm not going to highlight the arm because I don't know what that's doing either, so I'm just going to highlight the hand. Feels fine to me. And the belly. There's something definitely going on there. And I'm going to highlight, I really liked how this turquoise sort of blended up in here, but this feels too dark to me down here. So let's do that. And now we're just kind of going by feel, going by what feels good, not only physically and emotionally, but mentally when you look at it, if it feels nice. And that's what we're working with. I feel like this is going this way somehow. And you'll find that things will all of a sudden appear, disappear, reappear. And it happens throughout the entire process. Literally until you put your paintbrush down at the very end, it'll keep happening. Like right there, I felt like there was something happening with that being suspended there. So I am working with what popped into my head, which is some funny, I know not, line, sort of a line, not a line, I have no idea. And this curve, I'm going to go all the way up to there and come around here and then just let it drop. And I'm going to do the same up this way. And just blendy, 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 blendy. And I'm still using a scrubby brush, it's just a smaller version. Because when I do this color spreading thing, I don't want to destroy my sable brushes. Because it makes me cry. Something very interesting happening there, and I don't know yet what. So this might change again, even though it's already been doing all sorts of things. This feels like there's something here. There's literally nothing in regards to color in the middle there. So I don't know why that would interest me, but it does. Could just be another symbol that wants to come out. Who knows? I'm letting literally whatever wants to come, come. Now I'm going to work in a little bit of that cocoon. Because now it feels like something. There's a layer in there that my mind is trying to work through and think about. The rest of me has no idea what it's supposed to mean as yet, but we'll get there eventually. I don't really know that was about either, but it feels somehow right. And that's what I'm going with. It's whatever feels somehow correct, even if it doesn't make sense. Good now. Go back over here. This feels like a cohesive section to me for some reason now, except for right here, which I feel needs a little bit of this, and then its own little lines. Right. Right. Carry on. And you can see, I'll just let my brush completely run out of paint sometimes. And that just gives you like a dry, scrubby sort of effect. So you can either spray and let it run out of its own paint, or do it this way and let it run out of its own paint. Either way works. It's just slightly different effects. This one gives you more of a, you can see the texture of the canvas, whereas when you do it with the wet, it just sort of all blends together. I guess I use acrylics almost like watercolors a lot of the time without even realizing it. Although when I do these techniques with watercolors, it doesn't work. Because watercolors themselves don't stay in one spot very well. So if you try to do a lot of these techniques with watercolors, it'll just smear into each other and not give the same sort of effect. This will make sense in a second. It's just something that occurred to me while I was looking at it. I noticed that comes down. And I'm leaving some of the blue that I like underneath as well. But this line comes down and then goes into the wave again. So I'm just going to carry on with that. And I have no idea why those two should be connected. But I imagine I will figure it out when I go into my analyzation with my journal. And they're not even completely connected. They actually stop in between there. And not because I didn't want to go over the flowers, but because it didn't feel like it went in front of that in any way. And I know that I make it sound really easy to make these weird decisions. They aren't really decisions. It's just because I'm practiced at it. You'll get easier with it too. It's my job to make it look easy right now. If I made it look excessively difficult, you wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to do it either. But you can see all the way through. There's even new symbols coming in now. So literally, that's why these paintings can take so long and so many layers, because it can take that many layers before you get to the final feeling of completion. Like, there's no way to know, even in our time together now, you may not end up being completely finished with your painting. And that's fine. You can keep working on it on your own. and I'll still be here for support. I'm not going anywhere. So it's no problem. If you need me, I'm here. And you can just keep on working on them until you get it to a point where it feels good. And I'm using a different, like I said earlier, I'm using a different size scrubby brush. I use different sizes of brushes all the time, and I use different, like the flat ones and the narrow ones, because it gives the painting interest. It gives the painting more texture, more variation, and it just makes it more interesting to look at. If you've got different sizes of lines and different textures and different things going on in the painting. If it was all the same, it would be super boring. So that's why I change brushes so often, is because I like the feeling of a dry brush, for one thing. When they start off dry, you'll probably have noticed if you only have a couple of paintbrushes and you dip them in water and then you try to paint with them again, then it's a different texture that completely changes the way the brush functions. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely a noticeable difference. And it will be noticeable on your canvas as well. I feel as though there is I have a thing with these funny circles that are happening, so I'm going to do a couple of them. Not too sure what they're up to, but I'm going to go with that. There, one there. I think the birdie will have one of his little heart. To me, that kind of symbolizes the circular nature of what we're doing, like the circle that we're holding together, just the connections that we have going on right now, just with what we're doing together. That's another weird symbol that just popped up that I don't know what it means. But it's got something going on, and it also wants 3 of them up here. I'm also feeling, not sure where. I can feel that there should be 3 more, but I don't know where. This will be interesting. Here, no, I don't know. Somewhere. Here. Uh-huh. Okay. Right. Makes sense. So in these final stages, these are the kind of things that you're going to be doing. You're going to be going back and forth and playing around with what's going on in the painting and just really opening up to the final details. And when you end up getting to a point with a color and you're going around the canvas and around the canvas and around the canvas and it doesn't feel like it needs to go anywhere, then it's time to switch colors and do something else. Because at this stage, you're going to notice more and more that you're going to be stepping back. Again, my calf is still bugging me, so I'm not stepping back as much as I should be. But you'll notice at this point now that you'll start stepping back, coming forward and doing some more painting, stepping back, looking at your painting, coming forward again. And that's the end part of the process, is where you start really feeling into that and really noticing that your legs are getting a good workout walking back and forth and back and forth. So it ends up being quite fun. But you will definitely notice that it happens. really liking the green that's happening in here, but I'm not a fan of how that pretty blue stopped at the top of his poor little head. So I'm just going to keep going with it a little bit under here, just so that it balances out. Doesn't have to be a lot, just some. Now I've switched back to that really light turquoise blue that I blended. Okay, that's what's going on. I was wondering what was happening with those. They're not hollow circles like I first thought, they're actually light. And I like to go around in a circle inside of a circle because then it kind of gives you that swirly pattern, which is kind of nice. For me, anyway. I enjoy it. And this is literally what I'm just going to keep on doing. I am just going to keep on going in. Adding more. Blending out. I haven't at all decided what is going on with the bird entirely, but I'll get there. And again, that's a big part of the fun, is not knowing. I feel like these should have a gradation in color, just to make them more interesting and less flat. So I will just keep them a little something something. I might do that one too. He might also need a bit of a gradation in color. Nothing wrong with having it being a flat color. It doesn't hurt it. I'm going to go back over the white for this one and define it some more as well. I don't know, I was just feeling like these needed to have more of a softness to them. So they get more softness. Sorry, went off into my own little world for a second there. I just decided to kind of look at the painting and see what I was doing. And I think I'll stop it there. And then when we come back, I'm still waiting for this second layer of stars to dry. So when we come back, what I'm going to do is darken the areas that I want to darken, finish drawing out the final details. If there's anything more that wants to come out, or if there's anything that needs to be refined. This is the stage when you can get a little bit graphic with a nice fine paintbrush and clean up any lines that you want to be really graphic, like around the arch. I'm going to clean that up quite a bit. And around the bird, I might blend in these lines a little bit so it doesn't look like it's going through his face, because that distracts me. Just little things like that. And when we come back, that's what we're going to do. So join me again soon for the finished painting.